Hey everybody, welcome back to the Y Project. Today we are here with Coach Lepp. Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, enjoying the rain today.
Yeah, it's kind of a gloomy day, but it smells good out there. That fresh rain smell.
A little change of pace too. It's a little different, right?
Yep. We're definitely used to changing it up.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, my wife's happy. It's getting some water and all her gardening stuff, so it's good.
Yep, definitely good for the plants. Well, let's dive right in. Tell us about your why and how you became a teacher and what motivates you to come to work every day.
Oh, that's kind of a long story, kind of a funny story. Growing up, I thought I was going to do one of two things. I was either going to be in the military. It was kind of something really strong in my family, and actually, my brother and I are the first generation uh, in our line not to be in the military, to serve. And so that was kind of what I thought I was going to do. And then as I got a little older in high school, I wanted to be a DJ. So, I did some job shadowing in the area and stuff and used to record, do a little segment on football games and stuff like that. But I thought that's kind of what I wanted to do. And then, got a chance to go to college, which was not something that was very traditional, let's say, in my family. Besides my aunt, who's a genius, I'm the first one to graduate on the other side of the family there to graduate from college. And so, anyway, got into college, played a little football, did a little wrestling, had a pretty good time in college, and then I just kind of had a knack for understanding the game, and it's really kind of funny how it goes full circle. Is Coach Stensgar's dad was my college coach at Simon Fraser up in Canada.
No way.
Yeah, and so he asked me after I was done playing if I'd be interested in coaching because he saw that I kind of had an understanding like that, and so I did that. I did some coaching after I played up there with him, and I just fell in love with it. I was just like kind of been waiting to do this, but I've been waiting to find out what I wanted to do, I guess. I did a little coaching when I was younger, like youth league stuff, umpired and stuff like that. Being around kids, I like being around kids, but this just really opened up for me. And so then I kind of decided I wanted to be a teacher and went through that process. And my stepdad always made fun of me because it took me like 7.5 years to get my BA and my teaching stuff. And he goes, most people are doctors by then, but I wasn't sure. I took a long route, had a good time along the way, but eventually got taken care of and got a chance to. I did my student at Ferndale and had a really good experience there. And then we were pregnant, and so I got a chance to get a job in California. Went down there and been teaching ever since. And so you ask what kind of gets me going in the day. I tell kids this all the time in my classroom, and stuff. I said I've never once in my 32 years of teaching did I not want to go to work. I might have been tired from staying up late before watching a movie or not feeling great, but it's never because I hated my job. I've never, ever once woke up in the morning and go, God, I just hate my job. I don't want to go. That's never, ever occurred to me. And that's why I heard so much right now. This is really painful for me, and I know it is for a lot of other teachers and stuff. And the more kids I talk to now, it sounds them, but it's that interaction. It's that chance to have that interaction with kids face to face and stuff that's just killing me right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard. I like what you said about how Coach Stensgar's dad kind of got you hooked up with that. And I talk to my students about this all the time, how those relationships that you build are so important because you never know how it might help you in the future and how it might even change where you're headed. And I kind of had the same experience with somebody else in my life and how that's how I got to be where I am today. So that's super
Yeah.
cool.
I remember when you were in high school, I wasn't sure if you're going to be a teacher or not. And most of the kids don't know that, but Miss Spock and my son were in the same class. So they got a 10-year reunion coming up next year.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that, but
But yeah, you're right. I mean, and when you're going through it yourself, you don't realize everything else is going on around you. As I look back now, I have two coaches that were extremely influential for me almost like, basically dads for me, that I didn't realize what they did for me at that time until I got a little bit older and could look back at that. And then and now a lot of stuff just fell into place. Like for me, I really wanted to do, whenever I got into a situation where I had to make a decision, it was a pretty important decision. I always look back to what would they think? What would they think if I did this instead of doing that? And that really guided me. And looking back at it now, I know when I was fortunate to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for wrestling a couple years ago, and I gave my speech, a lot of it was dedicated to those two coaches because they really filled a void that I didn't realize that I needed. And so that's the other part that really drives me, that relationship I can have with students at school. And yeah, it's a lot of athletes because I coach, and I'm doing that, but there's other students that aren't athletes per se that you have that connection with. And I would not change that for anything in the world. I mean, I just wouldn't change it. And so I know for me, I'm kind of black and white in a lot of things. So I always tell, when people ask me about, about this teaching, I said, if you come to Mount Baker and you ask a kid what they think about Coach Lepp, I figure two things are going to happen. One, it's they either hate me because I'm so hard or they love what I do. I don't want to be that in between, like, he's okay. I want to make them uncomfortable and try to hold them accountable. And so I expect one or two reactions usually from that standpoint.
Yeah. Cool. Well, the next question we always ask is, what's kind of a word of encouragement or a challenge that you can throw out there to people during this time?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to be yourself. And what I mean by that is continue to do the things that are important to you. But then at the same time, broaden that a little bit and share it with somebody. I just find that if you reach out and just touch base with somebody, different or, every couple of days and find that, I think it helps you and it helps them. Like somebody cares about them, and you're helping yourself too, because you're getting out there. I just know that you just don't know when you do something, how that impact's going to be. And that's the thing about it. If you're trying too hard to make an impact, then it's not going to be genuine. But you just never know. And I was thinking about that question because you emailed it to me yesterday, and I know I have numerous letters that I keep from students. I have a folder. So anytime I'm kind of getting a little off track, you might say, or I might, some things aren't going real well, I go back and I pop that open and look at a couple just to kind of right the ship, as it were. And I've had a couple from especially, some kids that I wouldn't expect that just said, I said something to them, or, I gave them I said, hey, nice job on this test, or, I took the time to ask how they're doing. And that just means so much. So for me, that the challenge would be just, be yourself, but also reach out and help, brighten someone else's day. It's just important. Again, that's why this sucks being at home, because you just can't do that on that basis.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't do it. There's so many kids. I mean, it's impossible for me to call 110 kids every day, but I just want to check in with kids. I want to just make sure they're doing okay.
Yep, totally. It's good to know that there's like so many. I mean, we all care. All the teachers care so much, and we just miss the kids and hope they're doing well and want to be there to support them as best we can.
Yeah, and people say that it's the truth though, and that's why I would say 95 to 98% of the people who get into teaching want that interaction and want to do that, and so it's important, and we're lucky at Mount Baker. I mean, it's strange that right now not be able to see kids, and so you're trying to remember. Okay, I see a kid's name, something. Okay, I remember what that kid was, because you're not seeing them on that basis. But I love it at Mount Baker that we're able to do that, and that teachers aren't afraid to ask for help. If they can't quite reach a certain kid, they'll find another teacher who might be able to do that. And so that's what I'm saying. If you can get out there, you can call somebody, shoot somebody a text or something like that, an email. Just it's huge, that contact will make it can just really be the difference for somebody during that day.
Yep, totally. Every time I do this project, I'm reminded of like how awesome Mount Baker really is. Like the community is just, there's nothing like it. And it's just, it always brings me like comfort and joy to know that we all have each other's backs all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the amount of teachers and the longevity they have at our school. That tells you something else. It's I know when I got my first teaching job in California, it was a place where people weren't there very long, but you know, that wasn't my attitude. And I remember they asked, well, how long are you staying? When I first got there, I said, I didn't even take my hat off yet. You know, I mean, I don't know. And we really loved it down there. It just, you know, we had a chance to get back up here, worked out for us. But, you know, 3 of our kids were born down there. We had a great start to our lives, but things changed. But here at Mount Baker, I mean, obviously we've had, you know, other teachers too, probably had chances to move on somewhere. Ultimately, you know, yeah, you can make more money working in Bellingham, or you can make money at this school district and that, but there's something about this school district that, especially when you live here, you know, and I know, you know, we live in the community and stuff, and you know, I didn't go to school here, but you get embedded in the community, you know, and you know what it's like. You went to school here, you live here, and now you're teaching here, and how important that is. And so when I look at you and I look at Coach Johnson and Coach Chichilla, you know, Coach DeRocco and that, you know, those are all former students of mine also here, and it's just nice to have that tie, you know, to keep that going, and you're part of that also.
Yeah, totally. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I really appreciate your time. And we're really glad that you are at Mount Baker.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. And then I got one trivia question for the Baker Nation out there.
Okay.
You might have to Google it to find that's fine. But here's the deal. You got to tell me the establishment and in what town in Washington do they serve the first surf serve ice cream cone? Okay, so
I think I have an idea, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so you go ahead and email me. That's fine there. If somebody gets it right, I'll buy them a Gatorade when we get back to school. But it's I need to know the name of the establishment and in what town. The first soft serve ice cream cone. There we go. Trivia question.
Sweet, I like it. Maybe we should start doing that too. Add one more thing.
You know, when I did the morning announcements, you know, I had the first video on MTV, which I got some replies on. It was the Buggles and Video Killed the Radio Star. So yeah, we gotta have some trivia questions. It's great.
All right, spice it up a little bit.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Stock.
You're welcome.